Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It's media day. In 24 hours we will be playing Brighton at the Olimpico, and I cannot wait because, as I said yesterday, I expect a good game of football. It's going to be a good game of football, and it's very interesting to see what De Rossi has to say. Why is this more interesting than any other press conference? Because De Rossi, placed in a European stage, isn't that experienced. So it's always very interesting to see what these managers, emerging managers, De Zerbi as well, I'd be very curious to listen to his press conference, what they've got to say, how they prepare these games. Because for De Rossi and for every single component of Roma, including us fans, tomorrow is yet another day to mark history. Yes, it's not a final. Yes, it's the first leg, but it's important. And the fact that it's at home is even more important because it means that we have to win and that we're kind of forced to win the first leg. I don't want to waste much time. I want to set a like target of 80. Why have I gone with 88? 80 likes would be great. Let's get into this because it's a pretty long press conference. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat and then I'll go through comments in a second. What do you think of Brighton is the first question. Classic. I mean, it's a classic first deal question. I have an excellent relationship with De Zerbi since I was a footballer, after the matches, and he was taking his first steps as a coach. After every match, we talked, and I expressed my admiration towards his tactics, his game that he proposed at Benevento, at Palermo, at Sassuolo, and now at Brighton. And we talked about his present and what my future would be. He has some brilliant ideas, and he's a different coach from the others. I also have they also have excellent players, and I have acquired many good ones. I expect a complicated and difficult game, but we need to remember that we are Roma, and these games cannot scare us. Again, I think if there's one thing that we've learned over the course of these days, it's that De Rossi and De Zerbi respect each other a lot. They respect each other. They've been following each other since De Rossi played in that midfield for us, and De Zerbi was the manager of Sassuolo, the manager of Palermo, the manager of Benevento. They've kept contact. Both their daughters are at university in the UK. De Rossi was saying a few press conferences ago. So the two respect each other. And why do I think that tomorrow's game is going to be a good game of football? Well, I think this because tomorrow's game is a game where both teams are going to win, are going to try to win. And when both teams try to win a game, you have an entertaining game. It's the number one ingredient to have an entertaining game. It's both teams wanting to win. Not Brighton tomorrow aren't going to come at the Olimpico to park the bus and play for a draw. No, because number one, that's not what Brighton are. Number two, that's not what De Zerbi wants. And number three, that's not what general Premier League clubs do. Premier League clubs have the power and quality and financial power to beat everybody. So Brighton tomorrow are going to come here to win. And we need to contrast this and win. And when both teams want to win and are going to try solutions to win the game, that is the recipe for an entertaining game. So I cannot wait for it. It's going to be a good one. And moving on to the second question. This week, two Brighton players spoke about the stadium and the atmosphere at the Olimpico. Can it represent an additional weapon? We are the ones who have to give to the fans another happy night, and they are not the ones who have to make us win. Both things will be very important, obviously. For every player, it's very nice to play here, even for foreigners. But Brighton players are used to playing in full stadiums with a lot of warmth. In the Premier League, the setting is always beautiful, but here they will find a greater passion. And I think this is true. I mentioned this on when I went live for the draw. I think there's a difference between passion in... There's a variety of different types of passion when it comes to football. in Europe more specifically. I think there is Italy, who lives with football as a religion, and the tifos, the ultras, the hooligans, the banners, the choreographies, the overall environment and atmosphere in a game. Italian football, French football, German football, Eastern European football is very, very, very extreme. I think Premier League is a very good passion in terms that stadiums are always sold out. The fact that they don't have massive stadiums apart from one, two, or three invites families, fans in, and that obviously is another priority for them. They do fill their stadiums. Of course, the passion is going to be key in England as well. But England nowadays is not. It's not about hooligans anymore. I mean, I've watched this series on Netflix, which explained how after that tremendous, by the way, this documentary has some very extreme scenes to it. But I watched this documentary and it basically explained how after that event between Juventus and Liverpool, what was it again? It has a specific name. In 1985, the Heysel tragedy, where basically Liverpool hooligans knocked down all the barriers separating the two sides on the stadium, the two fan bases on the stadium in a Champions League final, and a ton of Juventus fans died. Hooligans, ultras, definitely was born in England, but after this tragedy, I think England has put out a massive security plan, and that's why we don't really see hooligans and ultras and that extreme passion in football nowadays. So I think Italy, France, Germany, Serbia, Poland, Legia Varsavia has incredible ultras. These countries have a different perspective of football passion. England is more of like, oh well, let's fill out the stadium, let's sing, and let's that is what warmth means to them. So of course Brighton players are gonna feel surprised. They are gonna, of course, it's always nice. This is what football is about. Brighton players, of course, can't wait to be playing in our stadium tomorrow because it's what football is. Football is for the fans. Fans is what makes up football. So they're all very welcome to come along and witness to another spectacular Olympico European night. In terms of what the fans can bring, I think De Rossi defined this really well. They can help, they can be that extra weapon, but ultimately they're not the ones who play. If the team is concentrated, plays well, wants to win, and then the fans help, then of course it makes things easier. But at the end of the day, the 11 players which step on that pitch to fight the war are the fans. So the fans can help, but to a certain extent. Moving on. Will Roma have to be more instinctive or reflective tomorrow? By the way, Eddie, thank you very much for the support. Simo, I hope you'll always make this content. Thank you for that. I cherish every time you publish something. Thank you, mate. Love the support. Coccodrillo dice Bruce è un grande. Grazie mille. Oxy Contents and somebody tell coach to put Simo in. I'll be the coach in a few years, mate. Mark my words. Right, so will Roma have to be more instinctive or reflective tomorrow? In other words, the question is, will Roma be more offensive or defensive tomorrow? You make a distinction between instinct and reason, between the defensive phase and the offensive phase. You can be instinctive by staying low and defending in a confused way. And you can be reflective by leading opponents to defend. I don't make a direct correlation between these two words because you can mix these two together. I think Roma are a great team who must respect Brighton. But at the same time, they need to remember that we are Roma. It will be a very good game. And we know that Brighton put City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs in difficulty, and we know that Brighton has got the weapons to hurt us. These are the matches that we studied. Sometimes they get caught. It's a game that involves many games inside a single game, and we have to win many various different duos inside the game. We need to manage the ball, and we need to try and crush them from the very first minute. So, again, Brighton. Observe how this press conference is different from the others. A lot of attention on our opponents, studying them, analysing them, because Brighton are a very fascinating team to analyse. But Brighton tomorrow is a tough thing. It's a tough game to predict how Roma are going to play, because Brighton put clubs like Liverpool, City, Arsenal in difficulty. So looking at that, Brighton can easily win tomorrow's game, because Brighton are now used to be playing against big teams and getting points against big teams. They do have a lot of injuries, but we cannot let fear invade us tomorrow, because as De Rossi said, with Mancini next to him, the players need to remember that we are Roma and that we've been glorious in Europe in these past seasons. That we have honored who we are, that we have honored our name, our history, our pride. We've honored this because we've been great in Europe lately. So yes, Brighton needs respect. You know, Roma follows a very good motto. Respect for everybody, fear of nobody. And that's the motto to go to when you face these games. We respect everybody, but we're not scared of anybody. Because if there are teams that need to be scared, it's them of us. So, look, when De Rossi says that tomorrow's game is going to be a game with various different games inside, he's very right. Because what we don't need to do tomorrow, I'll tell you one thing, is park the bus. Because if tomorrow we park the bus, which is not going to happen because De Rossi isn't that, but if tomorrow we park the bus, then tomorrow we're not going to touch the ball. Because Brighton play possession-based football, and we park the bus. Imagine this thing in a game. Imagine we park the bus against a team that plays possession-based football, and is probably one of the best possession-based football teams in the world. That is the definition of not being able to touch the ball. Because if you don't press, if you're not aggressive, Brighton can spend 90 minutes passing that ball around, and we'll be there like this. So tomorrow's game needs to be an aggressive game. It's the key. Otherwise, Brighton's going to pass the ball around, kill the game, and we're not going to win. And tomorrow we need to win, as I've said yesterday and as I've repeated today. Today marks 50 days of your management as a Roma manager. Did you expect something like this, or are you less faithful? I expected 3 more points in the championship, and it would have been perfect. That was the project, but I am very satisfied. I am aware of the fact we have done nothing yet. No one knows this city better than me. This city can change opinions in a matter of an eye blink, which is why I keep my boys with their minds in Trigoria and out of newspapers and social media. In this team, with this fan base, with the media around this team, you become strong very quickly and poor in a very short span of time. I am satisfied with what I've created. The relationship was already there, but as a coach, you have to create it again. How to present the same person but under a different guise, it's never easy. Mancini said that the players are understanding what I'm asking them. Today, I watched yesterday's training session, and it's not just understanding myself, but believing in every single body. Not that I ask for such brilliant or special things, but they are showing that they believe in what I tell them. That's the thing that makes me happy, besides the points that don't always go hand in hand. For now, there has been everything to plan, but still nothing, because we still have 2 months of fire left. I think this is the way to make these players understand that they've achieved nothing yet. And I always repeat this. Roma is a very weird team in terms of the media attention, the fan base, what the fan base asks, because the Roma fans change opinion very quickly. So when De Rossi says, "I'm very satisfied," you know, if I would have gotten those 3 points against Inter and won every single game, I'd be compared to Klopp and Pep in this city. So I'm very satisfied with what the players have shown, with what I've created in these 50 days. But the players and I and the fans need to be very aware that we've done nothing yet. Because if we start thinking that we've done much, that's where the concentration drops, that's where the attention span drops, and that's where the intensity in these games drops. It's very important to make these players understand, and I believe that De Rossi has repeated this thing to them for the past 20 days. They have done nothing. Nothing. In order for you to continue being praised, to continue being, hyped, you need to continue with this momentum. Because you have done nothing yet. I'm so happy about this moment. I'm the first one to admit this. I'm incredibly satisfied and surprised by what De Rossi has done. But the players need to understand that they've achieved nothing yet. And we still have a Europa League to play in and a top 4 to catch in the league. Once we end the season with a Champions League position in our hand, then we can start the praise, we can start the summer hype. But now, head on the pitch, feet on the floor. Because you've not done anything. You've achieved nothing. You're playing really well, but you've mathematically not done anything. So, feet on the floor. No one is Ronaldo in this team. No one is Messi in this team. Everybody is playing very well, but everybody has their limits. De Rossi is making this very popular in their minds. And that will feist them up. Because, as I said again, you've done nothing yet. Okay? So that's very important to understand as fans as well. And then, the last question is a very interesting question. You like Bove a lot, but he's been used less. Have you also thought about using him in other roles? With Mourinho, he averaged 61 minutes per game. With me, he averages 59. There are no differences. The game against Verona, he was the best. I have a lot of faith in him. I think he just has to work hard. And in fact, we stop at the end of every training to work on playing times. He has a great running ability and he's got a great technique. As a human being, he is a boy for everyone's daughters to marry. He's behaving well and he's always the smiliest one even though he hasn't played much. There is Rome's first reserve. It's something, he is not playing much, but it's nothing to be ashamed of and embarrassed of. I'm very happy with him. He needs to improve in some things, but he's not behind anybody. When he comes on, he always does well. He was a starter in Rotterdam 2 weeks ago, and he played very well. I love when De Rossi says that Bove, as a human being, is a boy for everyone's daughter to marry. What he means about that is the fact that he's very simple. In Italy, there's this stereotype that parents, if you've got a daughter, and parents kind of tell the daughters, go get a good man, go get a simple man, a nice, un uomo semplice. And I think Bove is that. Bove is a simple guy who hasn't overhyped himself. He's not a guy full of tattoos. You know what I mean? This is what De Rossi is saying. Especially because De Rossi has got a daughter, so he can relate to this. As a parent, it's the boy you want your daughter to marry. He's that classic Italian boy with a curtain hairline, no tattoos, no earrings, doesn't smoke. It's a bit. It's very true. It's very, very true. At the end of the day, he is very simple. He's a simple lad. De Rossi said that he's not playing not because he doesn't like him, but because he can develop him even more. And De Rossi played in a very similar position to Bove, so he can give some very good tips to him. I didn't know this, but apparently with Mourinho he averaged 61 minutes every game. With De Rossi he averages 59, so it's not a massive difference. We also do need to say that Paredes and Pellegrini are completely new players. Something which under Mourinho they weren't. So it's harder for a young player to get into that first squad when Pellegrini and Paredes are playing this well. But he's going to have his chances. He's going to be the future of this club, and De Rossi loves him, and I think Bove loves De Rossi. So that's it. I mean, I'm very, very, very looking forward to this game. I am. I cannot wait. So I'll catch you tomorrow with the stadium vlog. What is your favorite club outside of Italy, says Ryle. I don't really have a favorite club outside of Italy. It's very controversial as a Roma fan, but I really like Liverpool. I know I shouldn't say this as a Roma fan, and I agree. You know, in terms of the club, the fact that they robbed that semi-final in 2018 against us, and the fact that we lost the Champions League final against them on penalties, you can't love him. You can't love Liverpool if you're a Roma fan. But I have to be honest with you, I love Jurgen Klopp. I think he's an incredible manager, and Klopp has proven that you can rebuild a football club if you have patience. So I like Klopp. I like the players at Liverpool. I wouldn't say they're my second. Look, for me, it's Roma or nothing. I do have my favourites. I like Liverpool in the Prem. But if I had to pick between Real Madrid and Barcelona, I pick Real Madrid. I do. I pick Real Madrid. Maybe it's because I'm a big fan of Vini. I like Barca. I'm a big fan of Gavi. But overall, as a club, I like Real Madrid better. Atletico Madrid is a nice club as well. They've twinned with us. The Ultras are twinned with us. In Germany, I like Dortmund. Yeah, it's a bit of a mix. I like clubs which are passionate clubs, not oil money clubs. So yeah, that's what I'd pick. Pay rise. Oh yeah, by the way, Roma Theory is now on Instagram as well. That Instagram over there is my private Instagram, but I have created a community page on Instagram as well, and I've got my friend Eric, who I've hired him. I've hired him to create the graphics. So go show some support on Roma Theory on Instagram. It's called Roma Theory TV. So make sure to follow that Instagram page with graphics, updates, injuries, and let's expand our community on Instagram as well. So if you do have it, it would be great if you can follow that. Simo, did you know Roma never played against Brighton before? Yeah, I was guessing because not the two don't really. I mean, Brighton is a new team. Pressing is a bit risky. If we could hold a ball for a long time to make them lose their nerves, and then we'll have the game. Other than we need to keep them far from our goal by high block defending. Thank you very much. If we go through the quarterfinals, which team do you want to face? Well, I'd need to see who goes through, but I think when you're in the quarterfinals, you face who you have to face. I think it's poor if you qualified for the quarterfinals to go, I don't want to face them, because eventually we'll have to face the big teams if we want to lift this trophy. So I don't care who we face in the quarterfinals. All I care about right now is qualifying to the next round, continuing with this momentum. I'd like a good game. I'd like a good game. I'd like an interesting game, a game that we can all like. For example, a game that I would love is what's it called? Olympique Marseille against Roma, because I would love to go to the Velodrome for an away game. That's what we're all about. West Ham against Roma is a big one. West Ham are twinned with Lazio, those fascist cunts. So because of that idiot Di Canio, they're twins. So I would love to beat West Ham. Benfica, I like this. I also like to consider games in terms of possibility of away games. You never know. But it would be a dream to go to a European away game. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to catch you tomorrow. Thank you very much for the support. Don't forget to hit the like. If we can get 80 likes on this video, it would be great. I hope you agree with my reaction to De Rossi's press conference. Hit the like, subscribe, follow Roma Theory TV on Instagram, and talk to you very soon. Up the boys tomorrow. No fear, because we are Roma. And Roman Empire. Remember, we ruled the Brits. It's time to rule them once again. Talk to you soon. Good night. Enjoy Champions League.